So about a week ago, I was studying natural light portrait photography techniques, but then I had some sort of like an awakening, almost an epiphany. I love shooting in natural light, but I realized I haven't really shot any golden hour portraits. Immediately, I asked Drew if she'd be down to shoot, and that night we headed out to the streets of our hometown. I took out the Nikon F3 with the 50mm 1.8. I also had some agfa Vista 400 to capture those golden magical colors. I've only shot golden hour portraits a handful of times, so this was still a learning experience for me. Keep in mind, those only 2 times that I've ever shot golden hour portraits, they were on digital. So for the first couple of shots in my head, I visualized a backlit photo. The sun kind of coming out of the back of the subject's head and having this really cool glow behind her hair. It just kind of blows my mind to see like photos like that. I tried it several times throughout the shoot. Here's what I got. So after those backlit shots, me and Drew headed out of the urban side of town into kind of this more open, landscapey type of place. Now that place was in Benicia, and it was absolutely beautiful. There's this body of water, and the sun was actually setting, reflecting light off the water as well. Now with the sun looking really nice in the background, I was like, damn, what if I got some flare shots? You know, maybe angle the sun into the lens. Now, quick disclaimer, I'm not too satisfied with the way these couple photos turned out with the flare, but you know, it was still a learning experience. It was still great, and I still like the photos, just probably not what I wanted, not what I expected, or not what I visualized. There you go. But even though, at least, you know, I know how to go about it next time. Anyways, here's some photos from that. Now, during golden hour, you have that small amount of time in the beginning where the sun is still kind of high and the shadows are kind of long. Then at the end of golden hour, you still have light, but it's not too strong. You know, it's kind of like when it's overcast and there's not a lot of available light. But right in between there's maybe like that 30-minute gap where it's absolutely perfect light, where the sun is glowing and you get that magical looking effect. So for the next couple of shots, we drove into downtown Benicia, and we actually tried to find some really cool spots trying to sightsee. There were tons of photo opportunities, but there was this one house particularly that stood out to me. It looked really old and vintage kind of looking thing, so I thought maybe we could stop by and take some photos. Now the great thing about that was that the sun was barely peeking over the street, so it was shining this really nice glow on Drew's face, and it was front lit photo, and so we got some really nice photos from that. We spent about 5 minutes at that location, and then we headed back in the car. We just wanted to go explore some more before the sun completely went down. Here are some shots from that right there. Alright, so the last couple of shots were when the sun actually came down, and so it wasn't really in the sky anymore, but there was still available light. So Drew and I were walking down the street, and we noticed this little flower vase type of thing. I think it was a flower shop, I don't really know. I really wanted to utilize, you know, flowers into my photos for this shoot for some reason. I had this kind of like feeling of, I want to get flowers in this. So I had Drew take a couple photos there with some flowers, also having set it on a bench. And I also saw these really cool white flowers, and I wanted to take some over there too, and it was really beautiful. The flowers were extremely white, and the leaves around it were just extremely green, and so it created this really good contrast between the subject and the backdrop. Now, when I visualize my shot, I try my best not to hold myself to try to replicate exactly the same image in my head. And the reason for that is because whatever it is within the creative process, if I'm not able to create exactly what I see, I won't get as disappointed. And also, it's always good to have an open mind, especially when you're shooting, because things can happen that make photos even better than you even visualize it in your head. So having an open mind on that and not having, you know, your mind set on that particular, like 100% replicating that image is a great thing to do. So yeah, I grabbed the F3 and went to work. Here's the last couple photos. So at the end of the day, I fell in love with shooting golden hour portraits. It was just absolutely amazing. I love the looks you can get from it. So that's it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below of how the photos turned out. Did you like them? Did you not like them? Just anything you think, or if you guys have any tips, I'm always down to learn. Once again, you guys, I highly suggest you guys try out golden hour portraits. Absolutely beautiful. You're gonna have a blast. So that's it, everyone. This has been KingJvpes. Till next time.